Hey guys, I'm Nathan from Arms and Armor. Today I want to show you some swords that we've discounted for Black Friday. So these, all 5 of them, go on sale Friday morning. First come, first served. There's 1 of each. You should, if you want them, purchase it on the website. So the first one is this Type 15 longsword, a nice acute point, a straight faceted guard, and an oval disc pommel with protruding centers. This grip is very fine. It has this diamond pattern of risers on the top with a riser just before the quillin and one at the center that fits my hand beautifully. It'll probably fit yours too. And a narrowing distal end for your second hand. So this sword style was popular in the 14th and 15th centuries in Western Europe. It was primarily designed as a sidearm for fighting in armor. And this rigid blade with a fine point is for trying to get between armor, gaps in the armor. It also, of course, cuts great, has a nice sword wind to it. It's quite sharp, diamond section blade. The overall length on this is 35 3/4 inches. To look down here. The blade is 29 1/4, and the whole thing weighs 2.3 pounds. So it is a nice, light, really finessey blade. It moves really beautifully into all the different guards, and I think it is quite elegant with this square peening nut up here on the top. The grip is made of ash wood, fitted to, of course, it's a full tang all the way through, right? Ash wood with a coating of leather that's shrunk on with beeswax, which is one of the traditional ways of doing it. I really like this sword. It feels great, and the person who gets it, I think, is going to be ecstatic. The balance point and center of gravity out here is, about 2 inches out from the cross, which gives this thing really nice point control as you move. As always, 6150 carbon steel. All of these swords are 6150 carbon steel, and they're salt quenched, hardened to 50 to 52 Rockwell, and we make these by hand. Next, we have another Type 15. So this one we've made a video about before. It is discounted for the holiday. It's another one-of-a-kind sword with a scallop shell motif on the disc pommel, which is hand-filed into the steel pommel. This one has a brown grip with a single riser at the center. You can look up all the stats on this sword on the link below. It's a beautiful piece with these tapering quillins, which I really like. They're really good for punching people who you're sword fighting with. Another Type 15. This one we've called our Cressy, one-of-a-kind longsword, and that just indicates the time period that it's from. Again, peening block up here. Check out the full details on it. Here's the big boy. All right, so this is a Type 18 longsword, bastard sword. This curved quillin here it feels quite French to me. It's one of the reasons we've called it a bastard sword. Really nice for catching and keeping your opponent's sword when they strike at you. This disc pommel with, I think it's pretty cool. You've got right? A little bit of a rough finish inside the ring, which I think gives it really cool contrast and character. 2 risers in the center and a riser at either end of the grip. This sword is big and it is cutty, right? So this is a later type sword that I would say that this one is a sword for war, which is for fighting less armored people. Now, this guy, if I look down here, 48.5 inches overall, the blade's 35.5 inches long, and this one weighs 3.7 pounds. Right, so it's a substantial sword, a nice, thick, rigid diamond section blade. Right? Sometimes swords of this length have thinner blades that are really kind of slicey for being really essentially a civilian weapon. This one is definitely a weapon for war. If you're mounted, you can absolutely use it in one hand to cut. If you're on foot, use it in 2, and it really wants to cut, right? Center of gravity on this one is out here. It's like about 5 inches from the cross, which gives this one really nice blade feel. Totally depends on your preferences and how you fight. This blade, or this sword, has more blade presence than the Type 15s do, but it's really an awesome, pretty killer sword here. You can see the point profile is a little less acute. The taper, the profile taper, is fairly parallel out until, you know, the last third, where it tapers down to a fine and lovely point. This one is going to be in high demand. It's just a classic late medieval war sword. Next, this one, did a video about it before. It is discounted. So this was the prototype for our St. Martin's sword. The only difference is that the guard on this is a little bit less ornate and faceted than our production model, right? We're going through it to try and figure out how exactly we wanted this sword to work. I love this thing in part because its length is just perfect for wearing, and I love this early complex guard that protects your knuckles, right? We took this design from the manuscript marginalia of St. Martin, cutting his cloak in half. I look him up. He's apparently a nice guy, Roman soldier. And this is a 14th century sword, for sure, double-edged, right? There aren't a lot of these in production that people make. As I kick my stand here. A short, complex sword with a double-bladed or double-sided blade in that acute point. This thing is awesome. You will be very happy if you get this. Also, this pommel, right? We hand grind all of this stuff, so this isn't machined, right? That's why we have these complex curves and facets on it, because it has the organic features and feels and feeling that all actual medieval swords had, right? This is not geometrically perfect made by a machine, right? Instead, either I or one of the 4 other guys who works here did this by hand, and it gives it a lot of flavor. Finally, there's a special one for you. This little Irish sword. So, Irish swords didn't always have, but were really one of the only places that did have this kind of ring pommel, right? So you can see the tang here passing through the ring where it is peened with a peening block, comes all the way through the grip. Why did the Irish do this? Well, I think it looked like a Celtic cross, and that was probably important to them. Otherwise, it's just stylistic. A lot of medieval pommels would have been hollow and had a ring like this with plates brazed on to the sides or welded. This one also has a pretty detail of faceting around that ring, right? I think it's a gorgeous piece. And the quillen ends are twisted and offset, which gives you a little additional protection on the outside of your arm, and in complex binding actions may allow you to get some purchase on your opponent's blade. So this one differs from our normal Irish sword in the detail and fastening on the ring and the quillen ends. This one has a nice short grip. It's only about 3 inches, but my hands aren't small, right? I got big hands. But your hand fills the grip and the ring pommel seats against the butt of your palm, which gives you control of the sword. Now this one has 2 risers on the grip. You can see that it's green because it's Ireland, and it also comes with a scabbard. So this is the leather scabbard or sheath for the Irish sword, which is fitted to it. It's black leather and has a hanging belt system with a bronze buckle that we cast ourselves in-house. So you're not gonna find this guy anywhere else. This hanging system is for someone, well, I think it would fit someone from about a 32 to 38 inch waist. If you order this and you're way bigger or smaller than that, we can put a different strap on here to make it fit you. This is a soft core leather sheath, not a wood core scabbard, but it's included in the great price for this sword. So these will turn on at 6 a.m. on Black Friday, and you can purchase any of them through our website. All right, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.